Hello. You also say hello. Hello. A very good afternoon. I, Varshita from final year MCom,
I, Chandana, from final year BCom,
extend a warm welcome to everyone for the session on Decoding Union Budget 2023.
Maharani Lakshmi Ammanni College for Women was instituted by Dr. K.N.V. Shastri in the year 1972 with the intent of providing quality education to women in Bangalore. Last year marked the golden jubilee of our institution. Our college motto is Shilam Paramabhushanam, which means character is the highest virtue, with the vision to empower women through education for character formation.
The institution has a history of 5 decades as a reputed college for women and has been ranked among the top 50 colleges all over India and among the top 10 colleges in Bengaluru by India Today Nelson survey. MLAC was granted autonomy status in 2016 and has been accredited by NAC 4th cycle with A grade. Department of Commerce was started in the year 1983 and since then the department has been striving hard towards promoting quality education. On behalf of the department, I once again welcome you all for the session on Decoding Union Budget 2023. Now I would like to call upon Ms. Yashaswini, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce, to invoke the blessings of the Almighty.
ನಮ್ಮಮ್ಮ ಶಾರದೆ ಉಮಾ ಮಹೇಶ್ವರಿ ನಿಮ್ಮೊಳಗಿಹನ್ಯಾರಮ್ಮ ನಮ್ಮಮ್ಮ ಶಾರದೆ ಉಮಾ ಮಹೇಶ್ವರಿ ನಿಮ್ಮೊಳಗಿಹನ್ಯಾರಮ್ಮ ಕಮ್ಮಗೋಲನ ವೈರಿಸುತನಾದ ಸೊಂಡಿಲ ಹೆಮ್ಮೆಯ ಗಣನಾಥನೇ ಕಾಣಮ್ಮ ನಮಮ್ಮ ಶಾರದೆ ಉಮಾ ಮಹೇಶ್ವರಿ ನಿಮ್ಮೊಳಗಿಹನ್ಯಾರಮ್ಮ ಮೋರೆ ಕಪ್ಪಿನ ಭಾವ ಮೊರದಗಲ ಕಿವಿ ಕೋರೆದಾಡೆಯ ನ್ಯಾರಮ್ಮ ಮೋರೆ ಕಪ್ಪಿನ ಭಾವ ಮೊರದಗಲ ಕಿವಿ ಕೋರೆದಾಡೆಯ ನ್ಯಾರಮ್ಮ ಮೂರು ಕಣ್ಣನ ಸೂತ ಮುರಿದೀಟ ಚಂದ್ರನ ಧೀರತ ಗಣನಾಥನೇ ಎಮ್ಮಯ್ಯ ನಮ್ಮಮ್ಮ ಶಾರದೆ ಉಮಾ ಮಹೇಶ್ವರಿ ನಿಮ್ಮೊಳಗಿಹ ನ್ಯಾರಮ್ಮ ರಾಶಿ ವಿದ್ಯೆಯ ಬಲ್ಲ ರಮಣಿ ಹಂಬಲನೊಲ್ಲ ಭಾಷಿಗರ ನಿವ ನ್ಯಾರಮ್ಮ ರಾಶಿ ವಿದ್ಯೆಯ ಬಲ್ಲ ರಮಣಿ ಹಂಬಲನೊಲ್ಲ ಭಾಷಿಗರ ನಿವ ನ್ಯಾರಮ್ಮ ಲೇಸಾಗಿ ಸುಜನಾರ ಸಲಹುವ ನೆಲೆಯಾದಿ ಕೇಶವ ಗಣನಾಥನೇ ಎಮ್ಮಯ್ಯ ನಮ್ಮಮ್ಮ ಶಾರದೆ ಉಮಾ ಮಹೇಶ್ವರಿ ನಿಮ್ಮೊಳಗಿಹ ನ್ಯಾರಮ್ಮ ನಮ್ಮಮ್ಮ ಶಾರದೆ ಉಮಾ ಮಹೇಶ್ವರಿ ನಿಮ್ಮೊಳಗಿಹ ನ್ಯಾರಮ್ಮ.
Thank you, ma'am. Great leaders don't set out to make a difference. It's never about the role. It's always about the goal. One such leader whose action inspired us is our respected principal, Dr. Lakshmi BN. We welcome you, ma'am. We have with us 5 distinguished speakers for our panel discussion. Dr. B.V. Muralikrishna, presently working as Additional Commissioner, E-Governance, Karnataka. Dr. V.K. Xavier, Professor of Economics in CMS Business School, Jain University. Dr. Monica Krishnappa, MBBS, MD, Community Medicine, Senate and Syndicate Member of Rajiv Gandhi University of Health and Science. C.A. Pankaj Kumar, Partner at RVKS and Associates. Mr. Ajay Kumar, Entrepreneur. Dr. Anna Danish, Administrative Officer of MLAC. Dr. Gnanashekar TC, Finance Officer, MLAC. Dr. Abhinandan N, PG Coordinator, Department of Commerce. We also welcome all the MLAC teaching faculty and non-teaching staffs, all the students present here, and also the students attending via online. We welcome you all. Department of Commerce has come up with a small video on opinion and expectations of MLAC faculties, non-teaching staff, and students. Now let's have a look at the video.
Especially the teachers, and spread to reduce the income tax slab.
Want Modi to institute some more reforms for unemployment.
ಬಾಡಿಗೆ ಕಟ್ಟೋದು ಪರ್ಸನಲ್ ಕೊಡೋದು ಎಲ್ಲ ಸ್ಯಾಲ್ರಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ.
Is currently available to automobile industries, electronic industries, and pharmaceutical industries.
As well as all the molecules, whatever research funds are there, that should be rebated.
There should be more importance given to the biotechnology-based companies or discussion 2023 on Thursday at 2 p.m. Are you all ready?
To have with us Dr. Prakash K, corporate trainer, motivational speaker, and faculty development programmer. We welcome you, sir.
The Union Budget 23-24 was termed first budget of Amrit Kal. The Saptarishi budget, 7 priorities include inclusive development, reaching the last mile, infrastructure and investment, unleashing the potential, green growth, youth power and financial sector. We have our commerce students to present the highlights of the Union Budget 2023.
Good afternoon to one and all. I am S. Vaishnavi from First MCom presenting you the highlights of Budget 2023 and 2024, starting with income tax. Rebate limit of personal income tax to be increased to rupees 7 lakh from the current rupees 5 lakh in the new tax regime. Thus, persons in the new tax regime with income up to rupees 7 lakh to not pay any tax. The government has proposed to reduce the highest surcharge rate from 37% to 25%. Tax structure in new personal income tax regime introduced in 2020 with 6 income tax slabs to change by reducing the number of slabs to 5 and increasing the tax exemption limit to rupees 3 lakh. Standard deduction to salaried individuals and deduction to pensioners, which till now was applicable to the old tax regime, stands extended to the new tax regime. Thank you.
Good afternoon, one and all. I am Nivedita from First MCom. Reading out the highlights of defense. The defense budget was increased to rupees 5.94 lakh crore for 23-24 from last year's allocation of rupees 5.25 lakh crore. A total of rupees 1.62 lakh crore has been set aside for capital expenditure that includes purchasing new weapon, aircraft, warship and other military hardware. Infrastructure. The government reinforced its commitment on infrastructure creation as the first budget of Amrit Kal proposes to enhance capital expenditure by 33% to rupees 10 lakh crore in financial year 24, amounting to 3.3% of country's GDP. To reinforce the criticality of infrastructure in India's growth, the government included infrastructure and investment as one of its 7 priorities. Startups. Budget 2023 proposed multiple benefits for startups, including extending the date of incorporation for income tax benefits till March 2024. A national data governance policy and relief to startups in carrying forward and setting off of losses, among other announcements. Thank you.
Good afternoon all, I am Vindhyavati of 3rd year BCom D. Highlights of the budget 23-24 on MSME sector. A revamped credit guarantee scheme for MSMEs with an outlay of rupees 9,000 crores will be launched from April 1st. Sector-specific skilling and entrepreneurship development to be dovetailed to achieve the objectives of Dekho Apna Desh initiative. Government to set up National Financial Information Registry for facilitating the efficient flow of credit and fostering financial stability. Entity DigiLocker to be set up for use by MSMEs, large business and charitable trusts to store and share documents online securely. A unified Skill India digital platform to be launched for enabling demand-based formal skilling, linking with employers, including MSMEs, and facilitating access to entrepreneurship schemes. Thank you.
afternoon, everyone. I am Preeti from 3rd BCom final year. Highlights for agriculture. Agricultural Accelerator Fund to be set up to encourage agri startups by young entrepreneurs in rural areas. To make India a global hub for Sri Anna, the Indian Institute of Millet Research, Hyderabad, will be supported as the Center of Excellence for sharing best practices, research and technologies at the international level. 20 lakh crore agricultural credit targeted at animal husbandry, dairy and fisheries. A new sub-scheme of PM Matsya Sampada Yojana with targeted investment of 6,000 crore to be launched to further enable activities of fishermen, fish vendors and micro and small enterprises, improve value chain efficiencies and expand the market. Digital public infrastructure for agriculture to be built as an open source, open standard and interoperable public good to enable inclusive farmer-centric solutions and support for growth of agri-tech industry and startups. Computerization of 63,000 primary agricultural credit societies with an investment of 2,516 crore initiated. Massive decentralized storage capacity to be set up to help farmers store their produce and realize remunerative prices through sale at appropriate times. Thank you.
Good afternoon, one and all. I, Yashashri L. of final year BCom B. Highlights of health and public welfare. 157 new nursing colleges will be established in collocation with existing 157 medical college established since 2014. 220 crore COVID-19 vaccines for 102 crore people given. Atmanirbhar Clean Plant program with an outlay of Rs 2,200 crore to be launched to boost availability of disease-free quantity planting material for high-value horticulture crops. Sickle cell anemia elimination mission to be launched. A new program for research in pharmaceuticals will be formulated. The industry will be encouraged to invest in research. Thank you.
Good afternoon all. I am Arpita Shanbok from 3BCom A, reading out the highlights for the education sector from the Union Budget 2023-24. The Union Budget 2023-24 has witnessed a surge in allocation for education, the highest allocation ever. It has earmarked a total of Rs 1.12 lakh crore to the Ministry of Education. 3 centers of excellence for artificial intelligence to be set up in the top educational institution to realize the vision of Make AI in India and Make AI Work for India. District institutes of education and training to be developed as vibrant institutes of excellence for teachers training. A national digital library for children and adolescents to be set up for facilitating availability of quality books across geographies, languages, genres and levels, and device agnostic accessibility. Thank you.
Thank you all for the quick glimpse of the budget 23-24. I now request our principal, Dr. Lakshmi BN, to address the gathering.
Good afternoon to one and all present here. So every year, this is routine. So every year, everybody waits for this budget to happen. That is either in the state sector or in the union sector. So until yesterday, everybody was jotting down what rebate we will get, either it be an entrepreneur or it be a education sector or it be a agriculture sector or it be a commercial sector or such areas. So each people around their sectors will be jotting down or will be waiting for what we will get the rebate or how we can move on with our business for this current year and so on. So now, yesterday, the union budget was done, and our finance minister, Dr. Nirmala Sitharaman, she proposed the budget for the year 2023, and now, and it is very, I would rather say that it is a proud moment for our country, because finance minister is also a woman, and our president, the newly elected president, Draupadi Murmu, she is also a woman. And so now we can clearly say that it is already a woman empowerment, or the woman sector is already being initiated in this new year, that is 23. So now what I would like to emphasize here is, see, as a student and as a faculty, and that is in the educational sector, then as I told you, in the medical field, agricultural field, and various business entrepreneurs in their fields, now they have to intelligently decode this budget. See, whatever the budget proposed by the minister here, so this is a unique program which is organized by the Department of Commerce, and at the outset I would like to thank the entire Commerce Department faculties for initiating such a program, and especially special thanks to Dr. Abhinandan and Dr. Manjula Shekhar, who has initiated this program. And on behalf of management, myself, staff and students, a warm welcome to all the panelists here who have come from their own sectors to create a sort of the budget, what exactly a budget means, and which areas it covers, and especially to the younger citizens of our country. Because even yesterday, more focus was given to younger citizens of our country. So now, as a commerce student, you have to know what is a budget, what is a union budget, what is a state budget and all. So, see, since I am from a science background, I do not know much about the commerce related subjects here. So, but only thing is, as a citizen of this country, I am also paying huge amounts of income tax, and especially it is only the salaried class which are who are all paying the income tax to the country rather than the business sectors and all. But still, now that is when the Modi government pitched in, it was the GST, central GST, state GST, all those are levied. For some it may be good, for some it may be bad. So that is what we are discussing today. That is the impact of the budget and the outcomes of the budget. So me rather telling what exactly it is the panelists who have come here to discuss about this budget, so that the students have to remain calm, you have to interact with the panelists, and later you have to take home a message from this panel discussion, and after your graduation you are also going to the jobs. So in the job sectors, wherever you work, when your employer says this is the income tax you have to pay, this is the provident fund, this will be cut from your salary, there you should be able to analyze why so much is taken, and you should know what are the slabs of the income taxes done here and to which slab you belong to. But once again I would like to say, see, this is a budget where we can analyze. But there should be a result of this budget. So that means to say that there are certain advantages and disadvantages of this budget. See, yesterday as soon as the budget was done, immediately the opposition you have seen, right from the morning 9:20 to the night, say up to 11 o'clock, whenever you switch on the TV, whether it be the news channel or whether it be any channel, you saw the scrolls running down. So this is increased, this is decreased, like that. So especially for ladies or for women, see, most of us were inclined to see the gold rates. And so the gold rates have increased enormously. So, and as a student and as a faculty here, I was interested in the educational sector. See, huge amounts of money have been given to this educational sector. So now it is us to see how well it is utilized. And even when we say, the opposition went on telling, it is only poll ticks, or they were telling it is poll tricks. So what exactly? So you have to analyze now along with the panelists, what is the impact and what is the outcome of this Union Budget 2023. So all of you be curious, all of you listen to what exactly, see that is Saptarishi they have given out based on the 7 priorities. So this is the first time in the Indian history where such a type of budget has come out. Okay, so now more of this, that is especially the vision for the Amrit Kal, what they have given. So you have to focus upon more opportunities, that is the job opportunities for the youth. Then a macroeconomic environment is created by this budget. So how exactly this is created? So all this you will be visualizing or analyzing when in this panel discussion, that is you are decoding the Union Budget 2023. So warm welcome to all of you once again. So thank you all. Get the most benefits of this panel discussion. Thank you and wish you all good luck. Thank you.
Thank you for your motivating words, ma'am. Dr. B.V. Murali Krishna, presently working as Additional Commissioner, E-Governance, Karnataka. Sir has joined us now. We welcome you, sir. I now call upon Ms. Yashashwini, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce, to introduce the panelists.
I am profusely elated to introduce our panelists for today's budget discussion. We have amongst us Dr. B.V. Murali Krishna, Additional Commissioner, E-Governance, Karnataka. Dr. B.V. Murali Krishna joined the Commercial Taxes as Assistant Commissioner of Commercial Taxes during 1997 after his completion of Masters in Veterinary Science. Sir has worked in various capacities: cross-verification, enforcement, assessment, administration, appeals, GST implementation and invoicing, to name a few. He has conducted more than 160 workshops regarding implementation of EU Pass and more than 300 workshops with respect to GST implementation in Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Kerala and New Delhi. Sir has travelled extensively across Karnataka, visited Nairobi, Kenya 2009, Duke University, USA during 2011, NUS Singapore during 2018 with respect to learning on taxation issues. Thank you for accepting our invitation, sir. I request you to kindly occupy the distinguished chair. The next dignitary to honor us with his presence is Dr. V.K. Xavier, Professor of Economics in CMS Business School. Sir completed PhD in International Finance from Mahatma Gandhi University, Kottayam, with 32 years of teaching experience in 5 universities. He has delivered hundreds of VSAT teaching sessions. He joined Jain deemed to be university as Professor and Head of Department of Economics in the School of Humanities and Social Sciences. Sir is a research guide for PhD in Economics, a member of BOS and BOE of many reputed academic institutions. Sir also has an industry exposure as an editor in Macmillan India Private Limited, an author of 14 textbooks in economics, and published several research papers in national and international journals. Sir has delivered several keynote addresses in national and international conferences and has organized several FDPs, symposia, skill development workshops, panel discussions, debates, seminars, national and international conferences. His consultancy also extends to NGOs, MSMEs, and government bodies. It's a great honor to welcome you, sir, on the stage, please. Another noted academician amongst us is C.A. Pankaj Kumar, partner at RVKS and Associates. Sir also is a company secretary from the Institute of Company Secretaries of India 2013. Further, C.A. Pankaj Kumar has empaneled as a faculty and trainer with Institute of Chartered Accountants of India and Institute of Company Secretaries of India. Completed forensic accounting and fraud detection course conducted by ICAI. Sir also has a teaching experience of more than 5 years for CA and CA students, a soft skill trainer specializing in imparting training on employment skills and team dynamics, also a corporate trainer specializing in trainings on topics like accounting, taxation, finance for non-finance, etc. Given various guest lectures on topics such as accounting, direct and indirect tax, conducted trainings on GST and carried out GST impact analysis for various clients in supporting them for GST implementation. It's my privilege to invite Sir onto the stage. Next we have Dr. Monica Krishnappa. Ma'am holds an MD in Community Medicine and is currently working as Assistant Professor in the Department of Community Medicine at Sri Atal Bihari Vajpayee Medical College and Research Institute, Bangalore. Dr. Monica has conducted various health education activities and served as a nodal officer in charge of primary contact tracing of COVID-19, COVID-19 vaccination, and adult immunization. She is working as Honorable Senate and Syndicate Member of the prestigious Rajiv Gandhi University of Health Sciences. Madam also works as Principal Investigator for the prestigious Unnat Bharat Abhiyan, which is a project funded by Labour Ministry of India. Madam has 9 publications on her name and has also attended many conferences, workshops, and CMEs across Karnataka. Thank you for gracing the occasion, ma'am. Kindly occupy the seat on the stage. The next panelist for the session, Mr. Ajay Kumar S., Assistant Professor, SSMRV College, RV Group of Institutions. Sir holds MBA from University of Madras, Chennai, and an executive program in OBHR area, Indian Institute of Management, Indore. Mr. Ajay Kumar is consulting 3 startups in Bangalore. Sir is also serving as International Academic Advisor, SARC Education Foundation, Nepal. Sir is a CRISIL and Dale Carnegie certified trainer. Mr. Ajay Kumar has won over 80 quizzes and other management events, quiz master for over 100 quizzes, specialized in business quiz, economic and general quiz, also defense quiz. Sir has participated in 15 Model United Nations as delegate and executive board member, also won 4 Best Delegate Awards. I'm glad to invite you to the stage, sir. Please occupy your seat. We feel honored to have all of you with us. Thank you for gracing the occasion. Looking forward to hear you all. The panel is essentially incomplete without a moderator. It's a great pleasure to invite Dr. Abhinandan, PG Coordinator, Department of Commerce, to moderate this session. Over to you, sir.
afternoon to all of you. I request Principal Dr. Lakshmi ma'am please to come on the front seat so that. Before starting the panel discussion, firstly I welcome all the panelists. It's been 4 years of panel discussion, and I'm very happy to announce there's a 5th panel discussion that we are doing in this institution. And this is a kind of an institution where we are trying to encourage students to know something related to practicability of the subject we can able to understand better. It's been a tradition that we call panelists from the different domain, from the educationist, academicians, economist, industry, medicine or medical doctor, the government officials, to be a part of this program, so to witness and to talk about how this budget is all about. And this budget is basically, the panel discussion is basically, it's a non-political motive. We are not here to represent any political party, nor to talk about the political party, to praise about the political party. So we are here as an academical representation to talk about what is a budget is all about. So this is a kind of a platform for distinct panelists who can share their opinion, views, to understand, to know the budget is all about. So let me not waste my time to start the budget. Firstly, I should start from the, Mr. Professor Xavier. Every year, whenever the budget comes, we talk about the budget. A lot of importance comes, a lot of, importance we feel, but at the end of the day, that doesn't really make sense of budget is all about.
Thank you, Dr. Abhinandan. At the outset, I am privileged and thankful for this great institution which empowers women. While Professor Lakshmi had addressed, she asked she would like to know what is this budget is about. So while as a professor of economics, I'm not reading out the numbers which are given yesterday, but you should understand what are the inferences which we can draw from these numbers. First, my submission to you all is that budget is a normal event in every country, but it is an extraordinary event in India. This is a question we should understand. Second, budget happens in individual case, family, institutions, states and country. But these budgets are different, madam. When an individual or a family plans for a budget, first we'll look what is there in our pocket. Then we plan what we can spend. That's our expenditure program. But this is not the case when it comes to state or national budget. First, let me tell, it is the expenditure which precedes the income. We settle what is going to be our expenditure, then we'll have to adjust our income. Professor Murali Krishna will be able to discuss in the second part. I'll be discussing about the first part. Budget differs between individuals, families, and the state in a way. It is adjusting the piano to the stool. Rather than the other way, we should be adjusting the stool to the piano. So this is the main inference which I wanted to present before you. Can you identify, we are going to say, this budget we are going to spend about 45 lakh 3,027 crores. 45 lakh crores we are going to spend. But where this 45 lakh crores will come is a second question. So, when we look into the second part, where the money will come, about 27 lakh crores is the income, the revenue and capital receipts of the country, of which 21 lakhs is the revenue receipts. So remaining 17 lakh crores has to be borrowed. This is one submission which I wanted to present before you. So this I'll come to this. But let me tell you, budget is not an event. Rather, budget is a process. When a budget is a process, it starts on the previous day of the budget, where the finance minister will present on the parliament the economic survey Madam was talking about. What is this economic survey? This is a detailed document which gives what is the state of the economy. Where are we now? And what are the macroeconomic fundamentals of the country? I will come to these macroeconomic fundamentals. And based on these macroeconomic fundamentals, the survey will give a direction to the budget. So this is the first part of it, because it starts with the budget session. So budget session starts with economic survey, and as yesterday, the second part is the budget speech by the finance minister. And after budget speech is given, she would present or he would present what is the expenditure budget, that is a plan B of the budget. But the plan A, that is a revenue side of the budget, will come only the last part of it. So that is why I told budget in India is adjusting piano to the stool than the otherwise. You should answer this first question to you. Because what is important for a finance minister is to be a responsible finance minister, and therefore we have certain guidelines from 1980s, and that guidelines was given in Maastricht Treaty, where a golden rule of fiscal policy was decided. And what is that golden rule of fiscal policy? Fiscal deficit of the country shall not exceed 3% of the GDP. This is a golden rule of budget management. FRBM we call it as fiscal responsibility in budget management. So what world together has decided, no country can exceed the fiscal deficit by more than 3%, but we should come to that level. Why? Because this money, which has to be adjusted, the excess of expenditure over the revenue has to be found by two ways. One, the government can borrow from the RBI. Then the RBI will, that is called monetization of the debt. And that will need to be inflationary. Second, RBI can print the money and come. But in India, RBI is an independent autonomous body. So therefore, RBI will not lead to what the government says. So RBI being an autonomous body, which is not unlike in Japan, the Bank of Japan has to abide what the government says. But in India, it is not like that. RBI is an independent body. Therefore, it has certain guidelines and it follows this policy. And these two policy, one is government policy is about fiscal policy, taxes and expenditure. And RBI's policy is about money, what is the supply of money should be given and how much should be the demand for money. Based on that, they manages it. So having said, my first analysis is about budget is a French word which means a leather bag. And it is in this leather bag, the coffer of the state, the money of the fund, the king is kept. And this she or he brings to the parliament and present. And this is what? The budget. This is the bag in which we have our expenditure program and our revenue program is about. That's, I have given you a simple common understanding about what the budget is about. But now coming to my first point, I told you budget is a process, starts with the survey, goes to the budget speech, goes to the expenditure budget, goes to the revenue budget. That's not over. Now this is a time we are debating. Is it okay for you? Is it okay for me? If not, we will debate. And then, after all this discussion and debate in the parliament, it will be voted. And then, after voting, it will go to the president and it will become a finance bill. That's what the process of budget is about. And that is still April 1. That's the year starts. So from April 1 onwards, we can implement this budget. So we had the practice of having budget at the last week of the February, but current government has advanced it to the first day of the February, so that there is sufficient time for discussion and deliberations and corrections and incorporations. So it is in a public domain. So the numbers are now in the public domain. I am not worried about those numbers, but I will do some inferences about it, and that is the analysis which I wanted to present before it. Yeah. Can I get one or 2 minutes?
Yes, sir. Please.
Yes.
Please.
If the chairman permits. First, what happened in the survey? I have taken total printout of the survey. 24 chapters. Each chapter, word by word, I have analyzed. And that is in 2 days' time, because for me, as a professor, I have to inspire my teachers. I am a person who teaches. Because the teachers has to teach the students. So I go as a professor of practice. As a professor of practice, when I speak to you about this budget, first thing I will tell you, what is some macroeconomic fundamentals of the country? First, we will speak about the growth. Because what is important in the budget is income. Economics is about income. I work and I have an income. But I tell my students and teachers, you should have multiple income. You should have secondary income, tertiary income, fourth income, because that's what I made. I have 4 or 5 sources of income, and my secondary income is more than my primary income. That's what I teach. Because my royalty has told 14 textbooks that outnumbers my salary. So when I come to the national income of the country, that income is growing at 6.8%. Not bad. But that is, when I take the countries in the post-COVID period, India is the fastest growing economy of the whole world. That's good. But you should understand, if a country grows at 6.8%, what will be the outcome? In finance, as you have commerce students, you know there is a rule in economics and finance, rule of 72. This 72 is a number which is divisible by maximum digit 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. So therefore, financiers use this number to find when will a income double. So if you tell me what is the interest rate, 7%, 72 divided by 7. 6.8, 72 divided by 6. And larger the growth rate, largest the interest rate, multiplication will take in a smaller time. That's what the finance rule. I hope whether you understood it. Let us take this. We have said that our economy will double, our income will double in 2025. It will not. Because 72 divided by 7, it will take 7 years, and 7 years plus 2023, it is only in 30 it will happen. It is not going to happen it. And we are a $3.5 trillion economy. $3.5 trillion economy. And this 3.5 trillion will come double after 2030. But if we can change the growth rate to 10%, then 72 divided by 10, 7 years or 2 will take. So that is one thing which I wanted to tell you. Country is growing at a pace of 6.8%. And where this growth should come, it should grow from consumption or it should grow from investment. So national income professor will know, we say define national income as C plus I. C is a consumption and I is an investment. Because if I have 100 rupees, I consume 60 rupees, 40 rupees I save. So consumption is 60 and saving is 60. This is what India's story is. Our consumption number, according to IMF, is 59.8%. That means approximately 60% of India's national income is consumed. Remaining 40% of the income is saved. Then this 40% of the saving should be converted into investment. Otherwise, there is a gap between the saving and investment. Every day, I get calls from finance institutions, Bajaj, HDFC, etc., your personal loan requirement. Banks are flush with money, but there is nobody to take the money. Borrowing is not happening. So there is a 26% of capital investment happening in India, whereas our saving is 40%. So there is a 14% gap in the investment. This is what is a major problem of India. So to avoid this, what we can do is, either you should consume this money or you should invest this. So last year what we did was, we did not allot this for consumption, we gave it for investment. So investment, there is a theory in economics, if you invest, somebody get the income. That income is again consumed, investment will happen. This is called the theory of multiplication. But there is another story, if you consume, that consumption good has to be produced, for that there is machinery is required. So investment happens just because of consumption. So one is the theory of acceleration and other is the theory of multiplier. You should understand this. So both should happen. So in the current budget, what has happened is consumption is addressed. Because last year we did not give any tax exemptions, rest. But current year we have given some income reduction so that people's disposable personal income increase, and that they will go and consume, and therefore income will increase. This is my second thing. Last one more point I wanted to conclude before I said. Okay, one point. I told you there is an adjustment of stool to the piano. This money borrowing has got a huge. So 25% of the budget is for interest payment. 12% of the budget is for defense. 18% of the budget is for capital expenditure of the state government's expenditure, centrally financed, sponsored programs of the state. And how much is, madam asked, for the education? 2.1%. So should we spend 12%, 10.1% for defense and 2.1% on education? What will happen to these children's education? So that is one question I wanted to put. Second, health expenditure is also less than 3%. So what is important for us is my health and your health, my education and your education, so that the allocation has to be more balanced. So there was no balance in that, but I agree that the capital expenditure has increased, and since the capital expenditure increases, there will be multiplication. But that story will not agree. I will not buy that argument, because capital expenditure will not happen in a country where the ease of doing is very slow. If I say a highway happens from Mumbai to Kanyakumari, and for which we are spending 6,000 crore last year budget, where the road start? Land acquisition is not is a non-starter. So when in a country where ease of doing is not happening, capital expenditure program will not happen. I will come to this program later when you have any questions. By the time I will stop here to the moderator.
Thank you, Professor. I would ask Dr. Murali Krishna sir to give us opinion about the budget. They talked about the theme, Amrit Kal. Do you think
we have a reality, sir.
Thank you, Abhinandan. Thank you to the MLA College, Women Autonomous. And I never thought a day will come and I'll be coming for a panel discussion on budget activities. In fact, I'm an extempo speaker on GST and taxation, other matters. Coming to budget and all that, I think this is the first time I'm getting into this kind of a discussion. If any issues here and there, I think, hope, as a layman, you should be able to excuse. And moreover, my professor has given a full detailed explanation about what the total budget process and all that. There's nothing much else to add over there. If, as an entire ma'am was sticking with, it's a politic or a politics, it's a politics, end of the day. See, we are not getting into any other side of it. If you look at the whole budget process, in fact, in this budget process, one of my previous commissions is also part of it, like Economic Affairs Secretary, Mr. Ajay Singh. If you look at the whole budget process, if I can say it's totally a very balanced one, nothing giving much to towards there are impetus given to the expenditure side. As I said, yes, there is a responsibility then to the generation of income also. If you look at the total, where the rupee comes and rupee goes, if you look at it, at times it's agonizing. Borrowings it's around 34%, and in the interest payments around 20% you have to make it, and the pressure on collections and the generations is too much. And in that, as a GST department, we contribute 17% of the income. We contribute for the expenses from where the money comes. That's what I was looking at it. And another corporate taxes and direct taxes. In fact, there's only central GST what actually 17%. Forget about all state GST what actually they have their own different financial outlays. That's not part of this. So if you look at the day from implementation 2017 in the last 5 years, how actually the economy is growing, and in spite of the COVID during 2020, 2021, and it's bouncing it back. At times it's very astonishing to see how India is doing well when compared to all other economies, the developed economies and all that. I think the academicians should be able to throw light on that more than, if you look at as a taxman, we know actually the consumption is happening, the manufacturing sector is doing well, trading is happening. In fact, this year, this month, 1,56,000 crores is the collection, the second highest in this particular financial year after the April. We may expect, okay, April growth, we know actually it happens, but in the quarter ending, the December collections is happening, the January collections are happening. It's really astonishing. There are so many reasons, but we can't attribute immediately why it actually is happening. But compliance is increasing, and the taxpayers who are complying to that particular, and the technological measures which have been brought into the taxation, it is giving dividends. And in this particular budget, if you look at it, still further, there is an impetus to the digital. That's really, as the e-governance additional commission, I'm very happy to look at it. See, we are not taking a backseat to the digitizations and aspect, and we are giving much impetus to that. And that's happening, let it be, and even in agriculture sector. If you look at the digitization is getting into the, that's where actually finding way into the agriculture sector. That's a very big thing, which is very appreciable, because all along digitization was never entered the agricultural sector. This is the first time I can look at it such a, but it takes time to yield the results. It doesn't happen in 23, 24 itself. It takes time, because I have seen, though we laid the foundation, it's a very good beginning in that particular sense. And linking the PAN for all business activities. That's another major step. I think some other time when I come for separately for a GS discussions, I'll explain about how actually the digitization has transformed the whole economy. Let us not get into this particular budget discussion about that. That would be a very long subject. In that way, the permanent account number is getting linked to each and every activities, so that the transactions are tracked down. So that's another major step in ease of doing business in this particular budget has taken. That's what I can say. And coming to rationalization of taxes, that's a routine activity in any taxation. Let be direct taxes. They are given a with deduction, without deductions, new scheme, old scheme, some exemption to 7 lakhs. How much it will benefit, only when we calculate we will come to know. Till then, let us not go for the calculations, how much of deductions. End of the day, as I said, I don't know the politics and political things. I know everyone, once they calculate only, they'll come to know where actually. But whether you like it or not, as we salaried, yes, we are the first people who are getting into the part role. We have to pay and we are paying it. So that's coming to that. And corporate tax, the rationalization. Coming to GST rationalization, there's nothing much in that particular to say. It's only some of the issues which have been ironed out, that have been proposed, and there's nothing much to do on
So
that.
I'll come back to the GST point of questions to you, sir.
Yeah, that I will take it later. That's what I would like to say about it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll go to Dr. Monica.
Sure, thank you.
Dr. Monica, being a doctor, I think you need to tell us, to all of us, what kind of a health sector budget has it in this budget? And what I have read in recently an article, there is an acute shortage of specialists in the rural areas. Now, why the government is not focusing on these aspects in terms of giving a specialist doctor in the rural areas, especially in the northern, eastern states of a country, where there is acute shortage. Even in Karnataka too, the recruitment of doctors, I think today the government is initiating about nursing as one of the important aspects. What is a key takeaway that you have come across in health sector, especially in budget?
First of all, I'm extremely grateful and honored to be sitting here along with my fellow panelists who all are esteemed in their own fields. To start off, firstly, we have, as coming from a medical fraternity, we have been very discouraged all the time with the budget, very disappointed. And this time it's been the same, because not much of importance has been given to so many areas that should have been addressed when it comes to the health sector. The initiation for sickle cell anemia is good, accepted, because the rates of sickle cell anemia has been rising alarmingly. The fact that there has not been specialists in the rural area, as Sir mentioned, we have a lot of brain drain from our country when it comes to specialists. As soon as they are, qualified to treat at a higher level, they have more opportunities which pay higher, and hence we have a brain drain. And especially from the government sector, the pay is not much. So that may be one of the major reasons. And from the university or from the government side, now it has been made mandatory that after any specialization or super specialization, there has to be a 1-year rural internship that has to be done. So in this way, they are trying to regulate having a specialist in the rural area. Other than this, the other aspect of the health that was addressed, that is that there is going to be more digitization in the health sector, and there is going to be more promotion of telemedicine. All this is also helping us, but there could have been more budget allocated to the doctors, considering the hospital infrastructures are not being maintained, and there has not been any routine of inspections on the same. And hence there has not been any maintenance of the same. And that is also one of the reasons where your working environment is not sufficient for you to do what is needful. So other than this,
I would also add one more thing with regard to the physically challenged. I think we've been constantly ignoring the set of community of a physically challenged. Especially during COVID also, we never highlighted about them. Even this budget also, there was no such kind of a highlight which talks about the physical challenged. And as you said about the technology-based telemedicine, do you think it is a reality in India that technology will help the hospitals in the rural areas to reach?
during COVID, we saw a rise in telemedicine. Until then, we were not given permission to actually consult via telemedicine unless the patient is in front of you. Because examination is such an integral part of what we do. But telemedicine was given a big boom during COVID because, it was unavoidable circumstance at that time. So So the telemedicine is being continued now. It is being given some importance. Though some specialities we can do telemedicine, like radiology, where you can get a second opinion, or by video call, maybe to some extent you can do telemedicine. That may help you in rural areas, in tribal areas, considering we have the network and technology that will help us there. And when it comes to physically challenged or physically handicapped, there has been some amount of consideration given to them regarding rehabilitation in our own primary health centers, tertiary health centers, where they can come and get such things done. But there has been no importance given to it by any of the budgets in the previous years as well, even now. So yeah.
Okay, that is the dark side of the budget. So we need to understand on that. Chalo, we'll come to Mr. Ajay Kumar. I think today's startup has been one of the important aspects that we've been talking about in every aspect, in every sphere. So what is your opinion on startups? Do you think India has a potential of startups? And do you think the startups will create an employment opportunity? So that is my question.
Good afternoon, all of you, respected principal. Abhinandan sir, thank you very much. Privileged to be here. Coming from both academics and entrepreneur, I'm proud to say that I pay income tax and GST. So my contribution is, towards the economy is the income tax that I pay and the GST that my firm pays. Now coming to startups, this has created a trend today. You just build an app and you come up with an idea. Now, this particular budget focuses on startups. If you look at, my friend here would speak about the taxation policy. But the question is, India has produced about 44 unicorns in the last financial year. But how many are profit making? So it's only about 15%. So the question here is, Indian government should bring in such schemes where we build sustainable startups. Coming to the employment, yes, startups have created a lot of employment opportunity. Over 5 lakh, if I'm not wrong, 5 lakh people have benefited from startups in terms of employment. We need to learn a lot from the unorganized sector. Now building a startup, it's not about speaking high funder stuffs like technology, AI, and all that. It is very simple. You need to solve problem. If you are at problem solving, if your idea is problem solving, I bet you will become a sustainable startup. Don't think of bringing something from the moon, something from, another planet. Just a small problem that you would be able to address would make a lot of difference. One such example I would like to quote here of a startup called Zepto. You guys must have heard. It's an unicorn. It became a superstar in just a couple of years. Now these guys, the founders, the co-founders of Zepto are dropouts of Stanford. They got this idea when they were flying back from the US to India. They said, let's come into something what Big Basket does. But the idea is not unique. But they solved the problem. During the lockdown, if you have ordered anything through the e-commerce, you would have observed that Big Basket had a wait time. They would give you a token and all that. But then comes this company who delivers at a rocket speed of 10 minutes, under 10 minutes. All this is possible because of certain unique selling propositions. They had dark store models. They have, for example, if I sit here at Maharani and I want to order something, I would get it under 10 minutes because the dark store, which is also called the warehouse, would be established somewhere in the 2-kilometer radius. So startups have great potential. I guess colleges should entertain and encourage startups. Don't think of bringing a Deloitte. Automatically they would come in because you are a college of potential excellence. You are an A-grade college. I guess you are already having good ranking. So companies would automatically come into your college for placements. But I want students from this college to go to other colleges for recruitment. So that should be our aim in this financial year. Utilize all those government schemes that are available in building startups. Please count on me. I could definitely help students here build some good startups. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Ajay. I would come to one of the very important domain to talk about it. I think the tax point of view. I think all BCom commerce students are there here, and also filing returns from all of us. What is this? Is it a kind of a, the government has given a shock, or is it expected, or it's because of the next year is an election in most of the states? Is it that because of that the government is trying to facilitate saying that 7 lakh of new regime and the old regime, what the differentiation they are creating? What is that you want to light upon this?
Right. So, first of all, good afternoon, everyone. Right. I hope you people are not so serious in life. That's fine. It's just a budget, nothing more, right? We have still not earned, so there's nothing to worry about paying taxes. Let us first earn, then let's pay taxes. Right. So I have a wonderful, beautiful journey which I'm able to connect it today. I finished my graduation. I wrote my CA exams in this institute, and I became a chartered accountant. I was a student. Thank you. So this college is always special for me because I've given my exams here. Post-qualification, I took up GST, and I was student of Sir over here, and I'm fortunate to share a stage with him today over here. So as a chartered accountant, you think that, okay, now you have done CA, now you're doing practice, what next do you want to become? Then always the dream is to become a finance minister of India, right? Correct? So even I had the dream of becoming a finance minister of India, but it's still not yet over, but at least let me take the position of representing the finance minister over here within this panel over here. Yeah. So, and more importantly, Abhinandan is my batchmate as well, so you can connect all the dots. Everything of my life I'm able to connect it in this stage. Right. Okay, so Abhinandan asked a question that what is this 7 lakhs? Is it a political budget or not? Which is that. So before I answer that, first of all of you will have to understand how does the Indian economy or the budget system is working in India. Probably Sir has thrown a lot of technical highlights into it. I would go on a more of a humor explanation, making it very simple to all of you. So today we all live in a nuclear family. Earlier days we used to live in a joint family, right? I'm not sure how many of you are coming from a joint family. I come from a joint family. So in a joint family, what happens? There are 4 brothers to your parents. Then all of them are married. Then you have kids, right? So one person, right, he's a businessman. One person is an employee. One person is working somewhere. Then you have kids studying. Then you have some elderly kids who are ready to get married, who don't have a job in hand or who would have just completed the education. So our economy is also something like this. We are a joint family of people, where people from health sector, people from agriculture, people from business, people from entrepreneurs, people from department, government authorities, and everyone of us are together working as a joint family here, right? So what happens? At the end of the month or the beginning of the month, we get a salary of 20,000, 25,000. So what your dad does, he takes that money and gives it to your mother, because your mother is the home minister, and now our mother is also the finance minister, right? So what happens is once the finance minister or the home minister has that money, everyone has raised their hands. Please give me money. I have my additional expenditure. So that's what's happening, right? So our income is fixed, but the expectations of the family members are very high, right? Everyone wants a share in that money, which is that. But it's very difficult for the government to make sure that everyone is being kept happy on that. That is the first point I want to make you understand. Second, after you complete your graduation, you become into an employee. As an employee, there are only 3 good days in your life in a year. The first day is when you get your increment. Second day is when you get your Diwali or Dasara bonus. Third day is the budget day. Because you don't get anything extra, you save a lot of money. Now, all of you sitting over here, I could see people coming from BCom, MCom. You finish your graduation, right? You get into employment. If your starting package is 5 lakhs, so if you would have graduated last year and your salary package would have been 6 lakhs, you would have paid X amount of tax. Now, this year you complete your graduation, then you get a salary package of 7 lakhs. What are you saving is 37,500 rupees. Is 37,000 a small amount or a big amount? Right? You imagine how much of your extra expenditure of makeups, everything can be taken care of it. Correct? Right. So what I'm trying to say here is, the employment class of people are the biggest contributor of tax in this country. Now, every year before the budget comes, we are already standing before the finance minister and saying that, sir, madam, please reduce the income tax, please reduce the income tax. So if they start giving the benefit of income tax, right, then who will contribute? We are talking about allocation of expenditure. Where is our money going? But where is the money coming from? It is only direct tax, and it is because of, sir, indirect tax, GST. Nothing else. Where is the government coming? If the government sells an airport, there's an opposition who is already coming and saying that you are supporting only Adani, is not supporting anyone. So where will the government get money from? So government has a limited resources which is there. Point number one. Point number two. Now everyone wants a benefit. So it may be a middle class, it may be a rich person. Everyone wants a benefit in this budget. Now government cannot keep everyone happy. But believe me, compared to all the earlier budgets, this budget is very good because it has given something to everyone rather than giving everything to someone. I'll repeat, it has given something to everyone rather than giving everything to someone. So if you are a salaried class person, if your income is less than 7 lakh rupees, you save 37,000 as tax. If your salary is 9 lakh rupees, you save 15,000 as tax. If your salary is 15 lakh rupees, you save 35,000 as tax. If your salary is 10 crores, you save 30 lakhs of tax. Imagine. So even don't they have their share? Don't Mukesh Ambani, doesn't he have the representation right to make to the government saying that I am paying, my salary is 15 crores, I am paying 43% was the tax rate what Mukesh Ambani was paying. Now for them, government has given their benefit also, because what other benefit? Even if I go or Mukesh Ambani goes to the airport, we have to stand in the same queue. Correct? It is not that they are giving some benefit to the VIP benefit to any of the higher taxpayers in this India, in this country. So what the government has done is, to them also to keep them happy so that they pay more taxes, they have reduced their bit of tax rates as well. So to answer to Abhinandan's question is, this is not at all a political budget which is there. Government wanted to give something, and it has been a demand for last 2 years because the change of tax rates had happened in 2020. It's been now almost 2 to 3 years. There was no change in rate of taxes, and the government realized that there is some kind of discomfort among the taxpayers. That's the reason they have provided some relief. I'm sure this is not a big relief, but if everything is given in this budget, then we may not have the next budget analysis, and they would not invite me. So that's the reason we have left something for next budget also. Thank you.
Going back to the other panelists, I just want to have one more question with Pankaj. Is there any kind of the government is trying to tell that we want to impose a new tax regime and we want to come out of this old tax regime?
Right.
And especially the mentality of Indian mindset is such a way that, we want to save. We want to save more. Whether we carry it or not, we don't know. But we want to save more. That is something that we have it.
Okay. So I'll answer this. I'd actually parked that answer later, but good, Abhinandan has pointed this out. So again, I'll try to make it a little more with a humor factor and give you practical examples so that as a layman, as a student of commerce, you understand this. See, what happens is we are moving through a different economy today, right? Earlier, the mindset of everyone was to save. Today, we think that we have to save something? No. We are interested to spend. This generation is not talking about saving at all, right? This generation wants only to spend and have a better life. Why better life? Because my parents, my grandparents have already left something for me and gone. So what I'm only living today is for having a better life. Point number one. Point number two, one of the faculties also said that they want to increase the ATC limit. So the last revision of ATC was done in 2014, where they'd increased from 1 lakh to 1.5 lakhs. Now where do you extend? So if everyone starts saving, who will spend? What will you do with saving? You will again put it in LIC. What will LIC do? LIC invested 36,000 crores in Adani Group. What happened to that? 3 days, that has become 12,000 crores. So what I'm trying to say is, government has enough of money. They don't want savings from you. Now they want to spend. Because the moment you spend, your indirect tax collections will go up. Your consumption power will go up, right? So government is not in the mood of spending, and believe me, what has been told in this budget is the default regime is the new regime. So whoever were there in the old regime, it is only a matter of transition. Another 1 year, 2 year, the old regime will go out. So the whole basis in which the financial budget has been prepared is from a point that you will only have to spend, not to save. Point number 2. We talk about ease of doing business. Now, what happens in the present scheme is, there is something, I'll give you an example, there is something called as an HRA. What is an HRA? If you are getting a salaried income, right, whatever rent you pay, you will be eligible to claim the deduction. I'm sure you would have done the calculation, right, on the HRA, 10 months rent paid, 40%, that formula would have applied. Today what happens is, a lot of my clients, they don't pay any HRA, right? What they do, they say that I'm paying my rent to my mother. I'm paying rent to my father. And then they are claiming the benefit of HRA, which is a false claim, which is not at all acceptable. Second, so there is basically a kind of fraud that is happening between these people where they are claiming wrong HRA. Second, today government is completely under the electronic mode. What is meant by electronic mode? You have your income tax details, income ready, just upload it, your return gets filed, you get an acknowledgement, and 45% of the returns is getting processed today. So if you had a refund of 380 rupees, by evening you'll get the 380 rupees back. Now, if the government has to give the benefit of HRA, who has to calculate? Your employer has to calculate. So every company, whether it is Infosys, whether it is Tata, whether it is any of the IT companies where we are in Bangalore, they had to recruit a chartered accountant firm to do this analysis and to do the verification of supporting documents. So what does a company do? To give a benefit of 1 lakh rupees of HRA, they had to pay me 2 lakh rupees to do that assessment and give them a confirmation that everything what the employee is claiming is correct. Where is the question of ease of doing business? My friend will ask, why am I supposed to do this? It is government's responsibility to make sure that they actually claim or not. So like this, there are a lot of multiple kind of frauds which are happening, and the companies are spending much amount of time, efforts in between all this exercise of verification of ATC deductions. Even in your college today, if any of the faculties has to make a HRA claim or any ATC claim, they are supposed to give a proof. After COVID certificate, we have now realized how easy it is to able to edit a proof from madam's name to my name using an Adobe editor. So everything is being forged today, which is there, which the government is not interested. That's the reason they have said, let us not get into the headache of verification, assessments. Then to verify your returns, I'll have to put one person on the job who will do that verification. Then he will file an appeal. Again, I have to appoint another new joint commissioner to do this. The answer is no. Let us not give any kind of deductions. And the faculty who had asked about ATC deduction, I'm telling you, please stop saving now, because next year even that would go away.
Okay, thank you, Pankaj. Sir, I would come to
just
Dr.
like saying, he's telling live rich, die poor. What if my generation, if you ask him, we would like to die rich, live poor. That's a totally different thing.
Absolutely.
But this cycle repeats. See, they may say, if you look at the Western and Eastern economy, what's happening? See, there's the credit market, we're in the debit market. True. Now we are slowly getting to the credit market and debit. See, even if you ask me personally, I have a credit card only for a certain reason, not to spend actually. But as my 2 daughters I have, they would like to spend more, they have credit cards more. This cycle goes on. There's no point in telling on that. Let us see where things has to balance, has to get balanced.
I would add to what Sir was talking about it. If you go to a country like
before
US,
I'll just take your word back. You tell me honestly, so many women are there, it's a Maharani, Lakshmi, Ammanni college for women. Do you know how much of gold reserves we have?
That is one
How are you going to tap it, my dear? Even if you bring out any kind of schemes, bring 1 gram of gold from them.
No, I don't know whether you would have noticed one amendment that has come yesterday. Conversion of physical gold into electronic gold is not subjected to capital gain tax. Assuming that would have been done, then all of us would have gone to Delhi and we wouldn't have been sitting here. Especially principal madam would have gone there. Just like what I'm trying to say here is, sir rightly pointed out that today is the kind of gold what we have, still we want to consume. Still we want to buy more. Now when we buy more, the imports and the customs duty are being paid more. So that's the reason now the government is moving towards an electronic gold, saying that for your satisfaction, don't have physical gold, have a electronic gold. So you go to Paytm, you buy gold online. So 3,000 rupees is there, you can buy 10 grams of gold. Keep it for 5 years. For your wedding, you can utilize it next.
So we'll come back to Sir. Sir, please tell us, you being in a government office, the implementation of the governance, called good governance, what we talk about it. What kind of the college or institution, like government institution, facilitate in terms of bringing the good governance into limelight, so that whatever the schemes the government is coming out, the implementation will be easy or not?
See, to that extent, whichever the government which has come in the center and the state, they never look back at that particular digitization. Look back, Aadhaar implementation 2004 when cabinet rank given to Nandanilakeni when that particular project started it, okay. Today, if you look at the budget, if you can make it out, subsidies have come down. Totally direct benefit transfer is happening. See, that all could happen only because of the digitization, the Aadhaar linkage, PAN linkage, and your mobile numbers. See, you are all, please understand, you are all been tracked. You have been locked. And no one can say I have not been tracked.
Is it a threat, sir?
Yes?
Isn't it a threat?
Yeah, digitally. For example,
isn't it a threat? Isn't it a threat to an individual?
No, it's not. See, that is a different thing. What I'm trying, the personalized data is different totally. That is always anonymized, and that particular privacy protection and all that digital, that particular is there. Coming to the commercial transaction, coming to the official transaction, whatever the transaction you do with the government, that is tracked. For example, today the GST department, to implement GST in this mega scale across India, without technology, it didn't happen at all. Out of question. Giving a credit to a person who has sold goods in Delhi, sitting in Bangalore, I have to give a credit that that particular has paid taxes. I can't verify his books of accounts sitting here. I would look at electronically only. See, other aspect of fraud, let us not get into that. The tracking mechanism, that also can be tracked. So digital tracking is possible only with the technology. So even the GST implementation today, 1,56,000 crores, what you call able to get, if you see the graphical representation. I may not tell, maybe the facts very clearly see. The compliance has increased as electronic filing has increased. And documentation, e-invoicing has increased. E-waybill movement has been increased. Just to share one example of how actually digital compliance is happening, even the, let be mandatory or not mandatory, they want to follow the law. Means to say, for example, we have one rule saying that if the value is more than 50,000 rupees, you have to carry e-waybill. That's a mandatory. Means to say, every 50,000 of value it has to carry an e-waybill. You won't believe, my dear friends, among 300 crores of e-waybill generated as on date, some months back, 42% of the e-waybills are generated less than 50,000 of value. What it shows, people want to comply. As it's simpler and easy to do it, and they want to come onto the track. So in that particular sense, digitization has brought to this particular stage. Let be return filing, let be refund processing, let be adjudication, let be appeal. I think as a person, he might be a student for me earlier, now he is a practitioner. Now they know, sitting at their office, they can do their job. They did not come to the doorstep at all. That kind of a U-turn, because I'm in the e-governance in the last 10 years, I have seen the total research. Just like we have become a regulator to a facilitator. We are not at all regulating anything, we are facilitating. Our walk-in population to the offices drastically, I can say, is zero. Footfalls are very less. Footfalls on the digital platforms are more than the physical platform. So in that way, it is a maximum governance and minimum interference from the government. It has transformed.
Thank you, sir. I would come to Professor Xavier. Professor, talk about investment and infrastructure. There is a huge capital expenditure which is there in the budget. That is one of the, is it really a threat to a government? Is it the government is trying to plan now the policies and the development to take place in another 10-15 years?
Capital expenditure has gone up. That's a good point in the budget. But my question to you is, my friend said about the balancing aspect. Let me tell you, there is no balance in our GDP. 60% of the GDP come from consumption. 26% of the GDP come from investment. 18% of the GDP comes from government expenditure. So C plus I plus G is equal to 103%. So what is this minus 3? That is our export minus import is negative. Therefore, that minus will add up to 100%. This is what the understanding. So when we say in Mahabharata, Kundi Devi used to cook food and she will cook and give to Bhima 2/3 of the food, and remaining 1/3 she and remaining 4 children will eat. That is not the right balancing aspect. Did Kundi Devi knew the metabolism of Bhim so that 2/3 of the total food cooked in the kitchen should be given to one individual? I am leaving it to you. Coming to Abhinandan's questions, what will happen to our capital expenditure? See, even in the investment, the share of the government is very less. 80% of the total investment is in the private sector. And what is invested in the government is going for a waste. And why I am trying to say is, what happened to Air India? What happened to our ITI? They were also manufacturing telecoms. So the problem with India is, we do not have manufacturing sector. Unless and until manufacturing sector come up to the forefront, job creation will not happen. So what China did in 1980s, they opened the foreign direct investment. 840,000 companies, foreign direct investment companies, MNCs went to China. And you allowed China to be the factory of the world. And therefore today you are depending on China. But what did India do? We did not open up. We did say direct investment cannot come to India. It is a taboo for India. So investment story is from the private. Government should not produce bread. Government need not make airline transportation. Government, what sir said is governance. We should have minimum government and maximum governance. So let us, the government, be a facilitator rather than a provider. Government cannot provide. How long can you provide? It is not possible for the government to provide. I will give from the number is 45 lakh crores is the budget expenditure I told you. And what's the revenue? 27.2 lakh crores is the revenue. What is happening to the revenue things? Sir, there are two things other than that what you said is, there is revenue receipts, there is non-tax revenue receipts, there is capital receipts. And these three comes to the total income of the government. I tell you, the revenue receipts is about 26 lakh crores. Non-tax revenue is about 3 lakh crores. Then remaining is the capital receipts. That is about 18 lakh crores. You know what is capital receipts? This is borrowing. Government borrows. If you government borrows, government has to return. So when it comes to the expenditure side, government's interest payment for this current budget is 10 lakh crores 79,971 crore. 10 lakh crores out of 45 lakh crores is for interest payment. And 5 lakh crores, sir, is about subsidy. 3 subsidies, food, fuel, fertilizer subsidy, together will come about 4.5 lakh crores. So you add up all the things, the government does not have the money and government has to borrow. And if you are borrowing, you have to repay, and that is a major concern in economics. That is, government's total, the central government's and state government's total debt together is about 98% of the GDP. Can you repay this? So that means we do not have money to repay, and that is what happened to China, that has happened to Sri Lanka, that happened to Pakistan, because they came to a verge of default. We were also in that position in 92. But now, when we come to the macro positions, our debt has to come down to 60% of the total GDP. Let investment happen. I am not against that. Investment is a domain of the private sector. And that is not where the government should step in. Government should step in the health sector. Government should step in the education sector. And government step in as a facilitator. I would appreciate that. Government should not make bread factories. That's not the role of the government. That can be purchased from outside. What we do not get has to be bought from. So skill development of our children. So what went wrong with India is that we have only 25% of our GDP coming from manufacturing sector. 53% of our GDP is coming from services. And 18% of our GDP is coming agriculture. And that is what the problem. So we made a mistake. That is, we went to an agricultural revolution. And that is fine. We are now food sufficient country. We have food surplus country, and we are feeding others. But now what is important is manufacturing. Sir, that is what is important. I will put one more point for this. Unless and until a country transform agrarian to manufacturing and from then to tertiary sector, our model failed. We were an agrarian economy, but we became a services sector. In Karnataka, 63% of the state GDP of Karnataka come from her services, and out of that, 35% comes from only two items, that is IT and BT industries. Fine, we can celebrate services, but that alone is not needed. Last, when we opened in 2 years or 3 years back, India became the second largest exporter of the mobile phone. That is not because of India's ITI, it is because Microsoft came to India and started production here. And if we can replicate that story, that is what, sir, investment will do. That's it. Thank you very much.
So thank you, sir. I think because what we were talking last 4 years, even today we are talking about the same thing. With saying that we focus on agrarian kind of a sector, and whatever money we spent on agrarian sector, productivity of employment, productivity of income, productivity of rate of what we expected was not what we got it.
Sir, we have, in agriculture sector I come, 320 million tons of food grain we have. All our godowns are full. And we emptied our godown just because of our distribution policy during the COVID time. Government can afford to do that. So let us not see our agricultural sector is good. But what is the problem with the agricultural sector is that we can't store the food. We can't store the fruit. We can't store the vegetable. I myself is an agrarian. I'm a farmer. As an economist, I became a professor. I adopted a village district Kolar, and I transformed it, and I brought water to that district through a mega project of the government of Karnataka. Today when I go to Kolar, I find both the sides of the roads are mountains of tomatoes because the price has come down and they can't sell it. Can we convert it into an agro product project? Can you convert it into ketchup? Can you give this idea to the society? So that means what is important is agro-processing unit. What is important is logistics. What is important is storage facilities, which the farmers' agrarian community lacks today. Change that. That is investment. That is manufacturing. Thank you.
Mr. Ajay, I think you can talk from the point of as an entrepreneur. So government is trying to facilitate startup to agri business. Is it a elite group they are trying to target, or they're trying to target the agricultural at the rural areas where they can able to come out with the startups? Is it really going to happen in India? Last time they're talking about the drone. Last year budget they talk about the drone in the agricultural field. This time they're talking about the startup in the agricultural. But how? Is it going to reality?
So I started a company about 2 years back, which we have halted for some time because of aggression shown by giants like Zepto and all these guys. We started a company called My Sante. Sante is a village market, as all of us know. It's a popular Kannada word. So we plan to bring that Sante concept into city because we have forgotten the roots. Now, currently we are only into the dairy segment. We are sending about 200 liters of milk every day. Glass bottled packaging. So we are also focusing on sustainable packaging. So yes, sir, as you rightly said, yes, the government is focusing, towards development of rural entrepreneurs. The evidence for that is a show called Shark Tank India. I guess, if you're watching it, you're following it, you see a lot of ideas. There's one guy who was from a rural background. His name was Jugad Kamlesh, the first edition of Shark Tank. So government is promoting, encouraging people from the rural India. It is not, to target it is not to benefit any giants in the country. Every layman in the country, the government is looking into encouraging them. So coming to manufacturing, sir, just to answer the question that sir raised, India is currently focusing on manufacturing. Of course, we made a mistake in the 80s and 90s. We did not adopt to manufacturing. Now, if you look at the real potential of government companies like the Indian Railways, they brought in such a wonderful train called the Vande Bharat, where the whole world is looking upon. So the true efficiency of all these public sector companies are shown, especially when this government took over. I'm not pro any government here, but I started a company in 2012 where I failed. I literally failed. We started a company called Celebrate247.com, where we would deliver cakes or gifts to any of your family members. Say you are residing in the US, you want to send a cake to your mother who is in Bangalore. We started this company, we did 100 free orders, and we failed ultimately in Bangalore market because it wasn't that easy to do business in 2012. But now it is very easy. You order a biryani at 3 a.m., you get a biryani. But those days, delivering a cake at 12, we had a lot of challenges, especially with logistics, sir. Yes, we have to work on logistic. Because, the police would definitely, stop us and ask, what is this? What are you delivering? He would just put his stick into the cake, he would mess it up, and then we would get bad reviews, and I had to shut down this company in just two months, and we lost 4-5 lakh rupees in this process. I didn't give up. We are working on startups. So my Sante is one such platform where we are connecting a lot of rural population. We are connecting to the farmers. You would see a lot of changes in this company in the next year. We are planning to relaunch this company. We've changed the business model. Earlier it was something like a big basket, but the products and the packaging was entirely different. But we are coming up with a lot of remodeling and retuning to the company. We're working with several food engineers. We're working with several experts in the country to reshape this company. So, sir, the rural population is being encouraged by the government of India. I can assure you that. So people sitting here, whoever is aspiring to do business, I guess it's quite easy to start a business today, but please remember, sustainability is the question. Thank you.
Thank you. I would come to Dr. Monica. I think I made you wait for long. What kind of health infrastructure that the government, need to take care in India? Because India is one of the largest population in the world. I think we're happy that we are beating the China very shortly. So India is the largest in the world, in terms of population. And in terms of health infrastructure, health facility, we've been having a dual phase. At one side, we have a good number of health mechanism, but other side, we don't have the quality of health mechanism. So what do you feel, if the infrastructure of health has to be changed, what kind of infrastructure need to be given in India?
Firstly, I would like to address the fact that when you look at private hospitals, even in the rural areas, they're doing quite well. Because that is the mindset of our people, that in the government hospital, you're not given the attention. That is one reason for that is because of the overload that we get in certain segments of our healthcare. Firstly that. Secondly, like sir is part of the e-governance. So if we had a national health registry, like how it is in the UK, then like how our Ayushman Bharat has been rolled out, and if we can have a They did promise us a unique health ID. If that had been regularized, then we would have been in a much better position today. Because then you have all the details of the patient and you don't have to worry. That is also a component of the infrastructure. It is not just the building or the equipment. But this time, the budget has proposed that there will be certain courses for training people in certain medical equipment. So that will ease a little of the burden that we have in government sector, considering that if the budget had also proposed that they would levy the taxes that is there when you're importing such machines, because as sir said, manufacturing these machines, you need components from, various parts of the world. It is not something that everything cannot be made in India. So that way also we could improve the infrastructure. That is something that they could have mentioned in the budget. And thirdly, the employment. They could hasten the process and, make sure that the employment is given to more people who are actually qualified. Like, they have also included Ayush along with us. So now we're working hand in hand with all sectors of medicine. It is not only allopathy. We have included everybody. That is also a very good improvement. But some aspects of our medicine that they do not understand. Like there is emergencies that only allopathy can handle that they cannot. So there has to be some training in that, area. So that way also we could improve. But the existing infrastructure and what was done, that is our primary health center, sub-center, tertiary center, and then you come to the, hospital level, at the district hospital level, each strata can be improved in a lot of ways. But that will again be a little of politics, that we have to handle.
I just want to add one more thing.
Yeah.
Is it possible to have a universal healthcare system in India like US, where?
I think Ayushman Bharat that was the, yes, objective behind that. Okay. But unfortunately, Ayushman Bharat, macroeconomics, it looks beautiful because all your schemes are under one umbrella. And we were also very much relieved because see, then you will get any scheme you apply for, you will get a reimbursement from the hospital side. But it didn't microeconomic level, it didn't quite roll out that well. So that could be improved.
Please. Please. Yeah, please.
If you look at the past budget and this budget, everyone thinks service sector is growing, manufacturing, agriculture. Earlier it was agrarian economy, next to industrial, next to service. Because we know as in GST where the money we are getting it out. But somewhere good thinking from the government that agriculture should not be missed out. Once again, they bring the technology to the agricultural aspects. And if you look at the reforms in the cooperative sectors are happening, and making the warehouses of different district level warehouses, they would like to open it up. Basically, the production is there, as it says, spoilage. Instead of spoiling, it has to be stored. A perishable product has to be stored, it has to be sold when the price comes. See, that's where actually the government is pitching in. Slowly, if not late, it is getting into that. Means to say, even agriculture sector also service, it is entering it. In the agriculture sector also service is entering it. I think, as I said, we not manufacture bread. There was a time we have to manufacture bread. Otherwise, people would have been hunger. Let us look at the past. And now it has been coming back once again to the agriculture. Focus has been taken up in this particular. Because, once again, I'm a veterinary doctor by profession. I would like to say one thing. Why I'm trying to tell you, if there wouldn't have been NDDB, National Dairy Development Board, or Anand, or Amul, or Nandini, I don't think this village would have sustained now. Each and every village, any household is living because they have an house, they have one cow, and it is giving milk, not only for the family, and also for the you people to drink. Remember that. Because I have seen right from 1981 to now, how actually the packaging of the milk has taken a change. From the glass bottle to the container to the plastic pouch, it has come because of so many reasons it has come. Once again, he wants to give a sustainable development by giving a glass bottle, fine. Why can't an apple? There was a mother dairy concept altogether. See, somewhere we do move forward, we come back. and we are re-looking at it. I think it's a good measure actually. Even agriculture also is taking big focus and where the investments are coming. And there are farm laws are getting changed or tuned, fine-tuned. Let us not get into the political aspects of all that. But it needs to be changed in the agriculture sector. That impetus is happening. And this budget certainly in that Saptar Rushi, that in that one aspect of investment and infrastructure and agriculture is also happening. That's a very step when we should accept it.
Sir, actually I have a question to you actually. Do you agree that India, we have a simplified structure, tax structure? And what about the tax rates? And many states claim that they don't receive the share. Yes.
1 second.
Like, do you have like in India, there is always a saying that GST collection from Karnataka is always highest. And the Karnataka always claim that we don't have a highest returns of whatever we pay for it.
I think we can have a different session altogether for that, because when I think you Geeta, she was referring some may call from Maharani's Lakshmi college on GST. I thought, okay, let me go and talk on that. But this, I can tell about why the Karnataka is, the last 3-4 months we are in the second place. Even this month also in the second place of collection after Maharashtra. Okay, it's a basically consumption-oriented pattern, and the consumption is happening. You may say why the production is not happening, why? See, all producing states will not give more GST. It will get distributed. You may say why the population is more in UP, why the collections are not happening. The consumption may not be happening. That's where actually, as you say, I think our Karnataka youngsters are spending more. We're getting more money. And in turn, we are getting more GST. So that's how the collections in different states happens based on the population structure and also the consumption pattern. Both are important. Just because I have a population of 7 crore population and 10 lakhs taxpayers we have. Okay, 10 lakhs taxpayers and 7 crore population. Unless until 7 crore population or 4 crore population consume something, we will not get our money at all. We may not produce, we are not a producing state at all. The producing states in India, major is Gujarat and Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu. Ours is, we are a consuming state. So in that sense, our collections are more in. And coming to the different types of GST, let us not go to that.
My point is why the GST council, when they collect the funds from the different states, the allocation to the states will varies.
Yeah.
No, that is a different
right.
structure. That Xavier sir will tell.
I will tell you about. India is a federal state. And there is a federal structure of the functions and the powers, financial powers. And what we do is, through a finance commission, we distribute to the state. How much is being distributed to the state is what? The case I'm going to tell you, I have the number. 1,65,480 crores is a finance commission's grant to the state. That is, from the entire funds, the grants given is very minute. So then, is it right? So Karnataka is a contributing state. And the contributing state should get a major share. So there is a clear-cut criteria how the finance has to be shared between the state. The Kerala and Uttar Pradesh should be it should be based on the population, they will get the higher rate. But Karnataka is a contributing state. Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Kerala together is a consuming state and they contribute maximum to the GST. Therefore, the share of the GST contribution should be based on the criteria of contribution. And we are honestly paying, therefore we should get. And those who do not pay, they get lion's share. That is, GST collection, I'd say the number from northern state, how much they contribute. So there is huge disparity with that. That I come to tell. I have a case with madam's case about there was very unfair allocation for healthcare and healthcare infrastructure. Yes, you know what is the total it is about 2.7% of the total allocation went for healthcare. There is higher education, medical education, then we speak about access of education. Where is our medical college? When Ukraine war came, about 16 lakhs of Indian students who went to Ukraine to get medical education, they wanted to come, they were trapped there during the war time. That's the time when I came to know so many Indian students go there to get an education for 20 lakhs, whereas in India, to get a medical seat, you pay 1 crore. Right, ma? Yes. Okay. See, what I'm trying to say is access in education, quality in education, equity in education, affordability in education, accountability in education. These are the pillars we have to come. So now, even today, our access to the higher education, medical education, engineering education are not right. About 60% of the total graduates of India are pursuing BA degree. That's good because it is good for me because I am a person who teaches BA. Therefore, I get. But what is the problem with this? There is unfair education, allocation for health sector. Similarly, unfair allocation for our higher education system and other education system. So this is what my concern. It should have been little more thought. Should we spend for gun or should we spend for education?
Professor, one more adding to this. I want to ask you one more thing. There is a critic from the opposition which says that, I'm quoting this because it should not be that I'm using somebody's statement. There is no vision. The government is not talking about the job opportunities. The government is not talking about the various measures to bring down the inflation. And also, some of the schemes like MG Narega, where this was one of the scheme which facilitate the rural background to give an employment opportunity during the COVID. Now, if the government is trying to do this, what is that your views on this? On these
MG
aspects?
Narega, government spent 60,000 crores. That's not enough.
But it has come down.
Yeah, yes, it has come down.
Drastically.
Allocation has, see, what is education, the job sector is very much bad in India. You know what was unemployment in 2021? 11.9% of the people are unemployed. It has come down to 5.8% this year. But where will these people will go for what jobs? So for me, what is giving them a job is important, but quality of job is also important. What type of job are you giving to your children? You will get a job of 7,000, 10,000, 15,000. So that quality of job is what is I'm worried about it. And we should have a growth with the job. Jobless growth was there. Therefore, it was a joyless growth. We should have joyful growth and a green growth. Both I agree. And sir, I agree with that. There was GNAM, there was ENAM. Therefore, government could not, the people, the amount of money which could have been siphoned off from the government's amount, it has come down. This is what Rajiv Gandhi, he said when he was the Prime Minister. To spend 1 rupee, government has to spend 36 rupees as intermediary cost. So therefore, this digitalization has paid, direct cash benefit transfer has paid because this money is directly coming and there is no intermediary who is going to get out of this. But lastly, one concern which I wanted to tell you, sir, manufacturing in India, government why is lagging, ease of doing. We have 158 parameters to measure what is the ease of doing business in a country is about. And about 78 parameters are critical, and in this, one major parameter is land acquisition. You know, I came to Bangalore in 2000. 2005, we laid the metro foundation, and 2013, the first 10 kilometer space was launched. So the problem here is acquisition of land. But look into the China, land does not belong to you. You have no right to use the land. The government is the land. Land belongs to the state. Therefore, state will take the land whenever it wants. So what China did was, first in 1986, they implemented land reforms. And how? You cannot own the land. Government will lease the land. You can use the land, but you can never sell the land. So when you cannot sell the land, you will improve the land. But here in India, I buy the land to sell it. So that is a commercial story. So that is the land reform failed. And any factor market reforms, land, labor, market reforms, reforms about the judiciary reforms. You know the number of cases which are pending in the courts. A justice delayed is justice denied. So therefore, we should appoint a judiciary system, strengthen the judiciary system and take an instant decision then and there, then the criminalization will also come. So there are a lot of things I have to look at, touch upon, but by the time this is enough, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
I would like to answer your question, sir, regarding the medical education, higher education that is expensive. The government has launched 157 colleges, which is going to be all government medical colleges. And in that, the medical education as such is not as expensive as mentioned.
See, I come from a deemed university. Jain Deemed University is a very non-institution across India.
I used to work in
and that is what. So I tell you, see, we started pharma college courses. 40 department of pharma courses we started. Medical education is not only doctors. Medical education has a different genres, different species, and different type of educations. And that is where these students should be admitted to. That is what the government should do. And I tell you, so 1,040 university India has. And in Karnataka, we have 158 universities. Yes, so we lead in the education. And when we lead the education, we should lead from the quality, lead from the equity part of it. Thank you.
Okay, I'll come to CA Pankaj. I think I made him wait for a long time. I think in the budget they talked about something called leave encashment, standard deduction, and the surcharge. Just tell about this, why this was important, and what, especially the retired staff, the leave encashment, the 25 lakhs, what they're talking about. You can just highlight about this.
Sure. So I was just listening to my fellow panelist members here. Sir made wonderful points, but I'm privileged and blessed because I deal with business every day, right? We have clients who wants to open business. We have clients who wants to close business. We want clients who wants to go for loan. So we experience this every day. I've had a decade of 10 years of experience now as practicing chartered accountant. I've seen from the VAT regime to the GST regime. Just to give a submission to answer to sir is, today sir said that the importance should be on the manufacturing sector. This is what we're discussing in these four walls. Believe me, go out today. Government is giving you a standard benefit of 15% rate of tax. You do manufacturing business, straight away 15% rate of tax is what they'll give it to you. So imagine if you're doing if you're a service entity, you end up paying 25%. Here it is only 15%. So that's the promotion which the government is going to do it. Second, the kind of ease of doing business. All of you would want to do a startup tomorrow. Within 24 hours, believe me, within 24 hours, you get a company incorporated. My sir is there. They give you GST within 24 hours. You get a PAN card within 24 hours. Within a 24 hours, a company can be incorporated now in India, which has never been possible in India. So, that is the ease of doing business. Now,
sir, one concern is that. See,
let me complete, sir.
Ease of doing business is not getting PAN card.
No. So,
ease of doing business is not GST registration. Ease of doing business is how can you commission and sell your product. Produce
sir,
it.
Excuse me. Sir, please understand, my dear friends, please understand.
As you said, obtaining a PAN card is one of the ease of doing business only. Remember that. Now, 1 second. No. Without PAN card, nothing runs at all. Remember that. Nothing runs now. So, in that particular sense, in the ease of doing business, many activities are there. What actually is trying to stress it upon, when you compare to over a period of time, how things have changed in ease of doing business.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Right. And the impact of it you will not see today. Probably 10 years down the line, you will be able to see the impact, the kind of industries that would come into picture. One. Second, we talking about sustainability model. See, government is focusing too much on the startup, which is there. Because we want to create business. We want to create opportunities that is there. But please understand, business works on a simple model of selling price minus cost price. Only when you make profit, there's a sustainability that is coming into picture. Today, what is happening? People are not thinking. They want to buy something at 10 and sell it at 8. On top of it, you want to use a coupon code and buy it at 7. Now, what is happening? Who is funding that? Who is funding that? There's some investor who's sitting outside India who's funding that. No, that way business will not function. Business sustainability will not come into picture, right? We always say that this is a bania business. I'm not sure how many of you from North India here. We say it's a bania business. What is a bania business means? If I buy something at 10, I can only sell it at anything more than 10. I will not sell anything less than 10. Are we focusing on that business model? No. What is the focus today? I incorporate a business, I bring my revenue to 10 crores, 20 crores, 30 crores, I go to Shark Tank, sell off my 20% stake in that, get 5 crores, and then hand over the business. No, that doesn't function. And please understand, when government controls business, you say government is not supposed to do business. At the same time, you say that government should make sure that there's a sustainability in business. Why should government be part of it? Government is not required to make sure that why business is being done. Ease of doing business, there are multiple parameters for multiple organizations, right? So if it is a partnership firm, we can create a partnership firm within 1 hour. If it is a private limited company, we can create it within 1 day. If it is a public limited company, it will take 1 month because there are compliances additional which is there. Now the person who is evaluating it, he has different parameters and then you average it off, it will reduce. It has reduced and it will further reduce. I do not deny that there is challenges which are there. But believe me, the kind of ease at which we are practicing today as a chartered accountant, right? It is to the best of our career and we know how it is easier. Sir rightly said, earlier under the VAT regime, we had to go take a registration, we had to go to the department. Today we need not even, the moment you apply for company, everything is coming automatically. There's nothing that is coming into picture, which is that. That is the answer to the, just my thoughts on the points what we were discussing about.
Now I wanted to add one point.
Please, sir.
Last 2 budget. Right. 2 points I suggested to Honorable Finance Minister. She took both the point. In a country where demand is disrupted, consumption is disrupted, you have to bring up the consumption. So I told her, all old vehicles has to be removed. Scrapping policy was mine. And last budget, that is previous, but 2017 budget is my policy. And last budget what I contributed was, transportation is a big problem for me in Bangalore. And therefore, I told we should have ropeway hypothesis. So the ropeway hypothesis was my idea, which was patented in 2008. So if I have 100 poles in Bangalore, and if I climb the pole, and I can slid to my institution, I don't have to wait for metro. So that is also taken. And this time what I told her was, let all the buildings be removed. Let all infrastructure be removed.
Sir,
because
where will I go?
let me come to that. See, having new infrastructure, it is impossible because getting permit is important. Getting land acquisition is important. So, but we can rebuild existing infrastructure. We can disrupt all the old bridges and we can build it. And that is what is called investment expenditure for me. So that makes a sense rather than going for new roads, and it will take years. I told you, 2013 was Bangalore Metro, which was disrupted from MG Road to JP Nagar. 2 institutions did not give land. Jayadeva institution said, we will not give land. And because of that land acquisition, the metro was halted for 5 years. 30,000 crores project is halted for just 2 individual rights, property rights. Yeah, you have the property rights, but again, there is a social aspect of all these things about. That is where I am trying to tell you, there is no ease of doing business in India. And that is, you may say the metrics, etc., because what is my largest asset? 32,000 students I have taught. They are my assets. True. And what they are doing is what I am interested. If my alumni are walking on the road without getting a job, I make them entrepreneurs. So for me today, education is to make solopreneurs. And my students are solopreneurs, and I want to have an ambition. My dream is that I should start an institution where students do not come to get jobs. They should be creators of jobs. Can we change that level? That is what my country should rise to that level.
Right. So, very well taken, sir. But I'll just I'll make one statement before I give it to Abhinandan. Please understand, India's population is 142 crores. I was talking about family, right? We are sitting with a population of 142 crores. Sir, what is the population of US? Any idea?
400 million, 460 million.
Which is 40 crores? Yeah. So, what we are trying to do, we are comparing 140 crores with a 40 crore population. Is it possible? No way it is possible. Out of 140 crores, 80 crores population are still below the poverty line. Isn't our responsibility? It will take time. Yes, sir.
See, I have asked you 3 questions on, one is on leave encashment,
right,
rebate and surcharge, 1. And there is one question which has come from the audience, which says that as a salaried class, whether to choose an old regime of a tax or a new regime of a tax. So I don't want you to be in favor of the budget, what it has been talked. Be critical on what you talk about, whatever you want to say, so that let us also understand the second dimension about it, whether the tax regime.
So
because that is important now.
I'll answer the second question first. Which is a better regime, whether it's an old regime or the new regime? Please understand, if you're having a housing loan, right? Point number one, if you're having a housing loan or if you're paying rent, which is there, then it is worthwhile to be into the old regime only, which is there. But if you don't have a housing loan or you're not claiming a HRA benefit, then your system will automatically calculate and the new regime is much beneficial for the simple reason that what we are comparing is under the new regime, you don't get ATC benefit. Under the old regime, you get ATC benefit, which is there. So that is 1.5 lakhs. On 1.5 lakhs, you average it out at 15% tax, which is 22,500, which is there. But if you see the new rates of tax, that is 37,000 more. 37 minus 22, you get a benefit of 15,000. But if you have a housing loan, you can claim an additional interest expenditure of 2 lakhs, which is there. Or if you have a HRA claim, where you can claim up to expenditure of 4 lakhs, 5 lakhs, 6 lakhs, depending upon what rent you're paying, on that basis, it would be advisable for you to continue under the old regime itself, which is there. That is the answer to the second question.
You have always have deductions, go to the old one. If you don't have deductions, go to the new. That's it.
Even under deductions, if it is only ATC, then still old is not beneficial for you. It is new regime, which is there. I'll give you one point here. It's very important is, if you are a salaried employee, please understand, you can always shift under old regime to new regime. So when we file your returns, we automatically, the system itself will throw up what is the tax under the old regime, what is the tax under the new regime, which is beneficial to you. So you need not even come to Pankaj for that. Your ITR portal itself will doing it, and current year onwards, there will be one single form for anyone. So if your income is 5 lakhs or income is 50 lakhs, it is one single form for everyone. Second, more important, what is happening is, if it is only a business income, please understand, if it is a business income, then there is option of only one time to shift to the new regime or to the old regime, which is that. But considering that our audience is more predominantly on the salary income, which will be there, please don't worry about this old regime or new regime. Even if your employer has deducted tax under the old regime, you can still file your returns under the new regime. Even if your employer has deducted tax under the new regime, you can still file the income tax return under the old regime. It doesn't make any impact for you as part of your salary in taxation, which is there, because you can always move from old regime and new regime year on year, which is there. Right. Can I answer to the next question? Okay, Abhinandan is more worried about his taxes. Fine. Yeah, Abhinandan.
No, I'm not worried about the tax, but because the students are there from commerce, so that is one thing. So the second thing is about the surcharge.
Yeah, I'll come to that.
Yeah.
See, we would have read that the government is reducing the surcharge. As I gave you the example of Mukesh Ambani, surcharge reduction is not for everyone. Surcharge reduction is only for high HNI, which is high net worth individuals who are there. So if Mukesh Ambani is today getting a salary of 10 crores, 4.3 crores is only paying tax to the government. 5.7 crores is taking back home as a salary for him. So there, they have capped the surcharge from 37% to 25%, due to which my effective rate of tax comes from 43% to 39%, which is there. So what was the highest rate of tax of 43% is now at 39%. So effectively the same salary of 10 crores which Mukesh Ambani earns, he will now be paying tax of 3.9 crores, not 4.3 crores, which is there. It is only applicable only for income for more than 5 crores, nothing less than 5 crores, which is there. That is one. Next aspect was on the rebate. See, the problem today with the media is they don't give the full information. So they will only simply say that income up to 7 lakhs is not taxable. Right? That is not correct. Please understand, only if your income is less than 7 lakh rupees, then income is not taxable. If your income is more than 7 lakh rupee, then your slab limit is still 3 lakh rupees, not 7 lakh rupees, which is there. Right? Because if I give you the benefit of slab limit of 7 lakhs, even I will claim that benefit. So to make sure that only the benefit of middle class people, to give them the tax benefit, they have brought in the concept of rebate, wherein it says that if your income is less than 7 lakhs, whatever tax is there, I will give it to you as a rebate. It is not a tax exemption. On the other hand, if your income is more than 7 lakhs, please don't come to me. You are at a rich person. We don't want to give you any tax benefit, which is that. So that is with respect to rebate. Now, third one is something called as a leave encashment, which is there. Now, with respect to leave encashment, what used to happen is, this actually under the government organizations, the way government entity works is completely different than the private organization works. So in Karnataka, what the policy we follow is under the Shop and Establishment Act is, every employee is eligible for 1 day leave of 20 days of work in a month, which is that. So effectively, if you're working for 12 months, you should be getting 12 to 14 days of extra leave, which is there. Now this leave of 14 or 15 days, what you accumulate, because you're a hard-working person, whatever you accumulate, you can either use it by going for a holiday in the month of December, or keep accumulating it over a period of time, right? So what happens is, people were accumulating these leaves over a period of time. Unfortunately, today the private limited company setup is like that they don't allow accumulation of leave. They would expect you to utilize the leave because they want you not only to work, also to have a work-life balance, which is there. So they force you to take leaves and they don't allow you to accumulate the leaves, which is there. But if there is a company policy which allows you to take the leave, then you can accumulate your leave for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, whatever period it is there. And the moment you terminate, or the moment you resign, or the moment you take a VRS, right? At such point of time, whatever leaves were in your account, you can encash that leaves. Because that is the extra work that you have done to the organization. That encashment was taxable earlier, but it was exempted up to 3 lakh rupees. So if I'm working in my organization, RVKS Associates, for like last 10 years, and I've accumulated 100 days of leave, per day I'm eligible for 1,000 rupees, and I get 10 lakh rupees as a leave encashment because I've not utilized this 100 days of leave. Up to 3 lakh was exempted, 7 lakhs was taxable. Now this 3 lakhs of threshold was not changed from the time at least I was doing my CA. At least for last 15 years, I know it was not changed. So to give a benefit of that, they have now increased from 3 lakhs to 25 lakh rupees. So any leave that you encash at the time of moving out from the organization, up to 25 lakh rupees, you need not pay any tax. More than that, you'll have to pay tax. On the same lines of leave encashment, I'm sure you would have studied about something called as gratuity, correct? So if you are working in any organization for more than 4.5 years, you are eligible for gratuity, wherein up to 10 lakh rupees, whatever gratuity you receive, it is not subject to income tax, which is that. Now government wants to propose it and increase it to 20 lakhs. I'm not sure whether it has been increased or not, which is that. So which means that if you get a gratuity amount after 5 years or 7 years of working in any organization, this is not taxable, right? Subject to, it is not exceeding the threshold of 10 lakh rupees, which is there. In case if it is more than 10 lakhs, then the differential amount will be subject to tax.
Thank you, Pankaj. I think I am keeping a track in my time so that I don't exceed my time. So there are a couple of questions that is unanswered actually. So I'm keeping open to the audience to interact with us. We have Professor Sundar Krishna, a chartered accountant, ACCA. We have a finance officer, our Gyanashekar sir, who can also contribute for our discussion. And we have other participants from different colleges too. So you all can, probably you can touch up those questions which you have not touched upon it. Okay.
Sir, I think more or less all the questions have been dealt with. See, one thing, startup, there is one amendment which I would like to state. See, the thing is, previously, supposing a company issues shares at a premium to a local resident, and that premium is unjustified. It is more than, whatever the valuation. Beyond that, if they get the premium, that was taxed in the hands of the company that was getting it under income from other sources. Now the same amendment has been brought in to startups also, because they are getting huge valuations. Based on that, they get a very high, hefty premium. So, I just wanted to point out that this is one of the amendments. There are few not so, well-disposed amendments in this budget. This is one of the items. So that extra is getting taxed in the hands of the company which is getting that premium, under the head income from other sources. It is not necessary they have to get only individuals abroad. Even if they get it from the institutions, it is getting taxed. That I just wanted to bring it to your notice. Otherwise, all other points have been taken care of. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Now, one point I wanted to compliment with you is, taxation is when you have income. When you don't get income, you don't have to pay tax. But in India, we have to pay tax even if you have a loss. That is about security transaction. I buy share at 100 rupees and I sell it at 50 rupees. I make a loss. But still, what selling also I have to make a tax and buying also I have to pay. So that is a nonsense which I told. This is not a sensible taxation. Second thing, when you have a direct taxation, corporate income tax, which have rationalized 2 years back. See, when companies pay the tax, the same tax should not be paid during the dividend tax. Company pays the tax on the corporate profit and it is distributed as dividend, and dividend earner also pay the tax. Again, it is double taxation. So we say that both are nonsense. Third thing, which is capital gain tax. See, when there is a capital gain, you tax. When there is a capital loss, you cannot tax. You understood? That's the point.
Thank you, sir. So please.
Hello. Good evening to everyone. See, India as a nation has always believed in savings, especially for the youngsters. Our earlier generation, they were successful only because of the savings which they created. Under the new regime, my worry is that the present day youth will lose their incentives to save. See, ATC is 1,50,000. All this generation, they were saving this in the earlier years. Going forward, certainly there will not be savings of their own. Of course, as you rightly said, as some of the panelists, that we should have more consumption and spending is the habit. Sir has said, his daughter spends more on the credit card. Yes, but at the end of the day, where as a nation, as an individual, where we are heading, that is really a major worry for me in this budget. Because we don't see the long-term aspect of that. That's my concern. Number two, Dr. Xavier, sir, 10,000 lakh crore, I think, infrastructure development, the present budget has allocated. I think this is a good move because, as you rightly said, land acquisition. Ultimately, this development, infrastructure development, will be carried out by the private companies. So their investment will go up. For example, L&T and other major infrastructure companies will be benefited because they will create the jobs. So there will be job creation. But only thing is in the government should not spend it, as you rightly said, not on their own development, in the sense creating government companies. And government has failed miserably in corporate or in any business.
That's right. What you said is perfectly right. Government has no right to do the business which the private can do. We have exclusively said that what the government should do. They should govern, they should facilitate, and they should supervise. Yesterday, L&T went to shares went up because of the infrastructure, because I know that the much of these 10,000 crores will come to this. But what happened to the BAML came crashed. And what about Adani is a different story, because that is all I'm not talking about. Infrastructure is good because there are two models in economics. Either direct productive activities should happen or social overhead should be spent. Government should spend for social overheads. And if government spend for social overheads, roads, pipeline, that is what important, because pipeline is the cheapest means of transportation. Once you lay the pipeline, further marginal cost is zero. So wherever the government has to create, infrastructure is where the marginal cost is zero. I construct one road, 1 lakh people are using the road, another 1 lakh crores are also using the road, marginal cost for the second 1 lakh crore is zero. So that is what is called infrastructure story. So that I would say, but one thing, how should we spend for this infrastructure? it is not from my tax. Because this infrastructure will be for 400 years. So my great-great-grandson should be paying for it. So what should be paid? See, what I spend is my tax money. My tax money should be paid to me. And after 100 years, why I should be saving? So your saving story is that for whom are you saving? All your saving will be waste because you cannot carry your saving into heaven. So you will regret once you say I'll tell you one epitaph which was written in a great stone. All that I consumed, I enjoyed. All that I saved, I lost. So let us not make our children rotten kids. What is a rotten kid? The father will work and father will provide everything to the child. Child become rotten. But father should work and father should enjoy. And therefore child has to work if he wanted. So which means today what I practice is that I don't give anything to my child. All what I work, I enjoy in international holidays. I don't want my child to be a rotten child there. So saving is bad. Consumption is good. That's what my principle is.
Thank you, sir. So I think the last students are waiting.
Yeah.
Last two, finish. It's here only.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Vivekananda B. from Sheshalipuram Institute of Commerce and Management. And I have two questions, and which is open to the panel. My first question is, when you discuss about surcharges, and you mentioned that it's for the high revenue income earners. And in our country, where you think about Adani or Ammanni, these are the people who earn the highest. And basically we get the most tax out of them. And if we are giving benefits to them, and we are exempting tax from them, then to what level are they contributing to the country's economy? That is one question. And the second one is that when you talk about ease in doing business or to create more entrepreneurs and startups in our country, if you don't improve educational aspect, to what level are these entrepreneurs equipped? And how well can they handle their businesses when they're not educated qualitatively? And this is my question to the panel. Thank you.
So let me take the first question. I'm not sure whether you're aware of the concept called as 80-20, right? Today what is happening for the Indian economy is 20% of the people are paying 80% of the taxes, right? So your answer to your question is, why that benefit should be given to Ambani's is, because these are the 20% of the people who are paying 80% of the economy, paying taxes to the economy. I'll give you some statistics. I don't believe in statistics. Out of 140 crores of population, last year, income tax return filed was only 7 crores, which is hardly 3.5%. Okay. Out of this 7 crores, only 1 crore had shown income of more than 5 lakhs. So 6 crore of people have shown income less than 5 lakhs. Out of this 1 crore, right, again there are slabs. 50,000 of people, 1 crore, 50 lakh of people had shown income of more than 10 lakhs. The way you go up, effectively what happens is, the last leg, there is only 1 lakh of people in this whole country who has shown income of more than 1 crore. Can we digest this? Do we say that in the whole nation there are only 1 lakh of people whose income is more than 1 crore? Not at all possible, because we have twice of it the politicians only which are there, right? But are they paying taxes? No. So what is happening? Because of there are people in the system who do not pay taxes, people who are paying taxes has not been appreciated. That's what I said. What is the difference between Pankaj and Mukesh Ambani? Both of them have been treated by the government the same way. We only get a certificate from the government for appreciation for payment of tax. He is paying 5.5 crores of tax. I am paying only 5 lakhs of tax. But at the same place, both of us are getting the same benefit. We are using the same roads. We are using the same airport. Everything is same for me and then. Then isn't that our responsibility to give him something much more than what they are contributing for it? Right? So, one. Second, also I would want to tell you the objective of having a surcharge in place. Right? Government, if they want, they can increase the tax rates, but they never increase the tax rate, they increase the surcharge. Because once they increase the tax rate, states will also have a share in that tax. But if it is surcharge, states do not get a benefit out of that. So that's the reason Now what they are giving as a benefit is out of their corpus, not of the state's corpus, which is there. Right?
Yeah, but at the same time, when you look at it, the level of income they're earning is very high, right? We're not talking about normal people right here. We're talking about HRI guys who are
Absolutely.
earning...
Sir, today you're talking because your income is less than 5 lakhs. The same person after 10 years, 15 years will be appearing in the coming on the same stage and saying, oh my God, I'm earning 1 crore, I'm paying so much of taxes. It is only the way you look at it, whether it is the glass is half full or half empty.
Okay, but then doesn't it breed more capitalization than, looking at the country's development?
In terms of capitalization, in terms of?
See, basically, when you talk about more of privatization, we always forget the aspect of people's benefit.
Right.
Yeah. So don't people become more capital and then more private that we are breeding on our grounds today?
No, that's what is happening, right? So whatever this 20% of population is being paid, taxes being paid, it's going for the 80% of the people over here in terms of the benefit, right? If you would have heard the speech, in the COVID times, 80 crores of people were given free food, free, the cereals, pulses, everything was being given. Isn't it for the government? It's what they're doing it for it, right?
Yeah, like most of the time, even you have these companies which talk about CSR activities and everything.
Absolutely.
What my point is that when people are earning such high incomes, when you think about capital gains and then only the capital aspect of it, you start forgetting the public aspect of it. So if Ammanni is given an exemption, just because he's contributing more, but at the same time he's earning more from our country, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you're taxing him from every corner, no? Which corner you have left him, you tell him. If it's a company, your company is paying tax. The same company declares dividend to Ambani, he's again paying tax. The same company declaring salary to him is again paying tax. So is that he's not paying tax or there is any tax evasion that's happening? So that's the reason what these companies generally do is, if you would have heard about the Adani group issue, what is that? There's something called as tax havens. Okay. What is tax haven? It is basically a place outside India where you try to park the funds over there and then try to get a benefit of it. Because there is no tax haven here in India, people are not able to get benefit of it. That's the reason they go outside and then they park in either of these countries and try to get the benefit of it from there.
Okay, fine. Thank you so much. And the second question, if the panel's open to it.
Anyone wants to take up the second question? If you can just repeat for the benefit of all.
Yes, sir. My question was that, when you talk about promoting entrepreneurship and you talk about bringing up more companies into the, existence, and if you're not focusing on the educational aspect of it, how well of an entrepreneurs are we breeding in a country? And how well of an equipped entrepreneurs that are going to last in the society? So that is why is education, why education is important?
Yeah. Entrepreneurship should start with higher education level. I promote this idea of earning and learning. So which means the model is changing. About at least 3 hours the student should be working. Yes, and the remaining time they can be there in the campuses. So this earning and learning, I have practiced it, and there is a lot of students of mine, they pay the fees from their own pocket. They are not dependent on their children. The problem with Indian community is that, unlike any natures, creatures of the nature, a mother hen, how long does after 2 months? And they have to be independent of their own, and they have to fetch their own food. Same thing applies to us. See, we are a spoiled crowd because we are dependent on our parents. So that dependency syndrome should stop, and the student should be made to work. And how you can work, I tell you. I can make rosary. If you give me some wires, some beads, and I can make rosaries. I can make candles. I can make any goods like that. And similarly, Swiss watches are famous. Why, that Swiss watches are made outside their main work. They come home and do a watchmaking, and that is sold. So that is the story we can tell. I have hundreds of that examples which I give to my students, and there they can earn. So this earning and learning should be practiced, and that is where the students understand how does an industry works. And the culture of the industry they know while they are graduates or they are in a master's level. Unless and until they do some work, they should not be given an entry to the post-graduation. I say that. After graduation, you should go and work. And after working, you should come back to the campus. But our case is, there is an all promotion, 10th class, 12th class, degree, post-graduation, PhD, still they will work. And they will not go out. They just want to be dependent on their parents' income. That's not the case in Europe. That's not the case in America. I have friends in America, and where I say, they sponsor one child. My uncle said, I have 4 children, and you are the eldest son, and I paid for you, and you got a job, and she's a doctor. And he said, I want to get married. My uncle said, first you pay my loan, then you go for getting married. That's the education, that's a culture, self-financing. So that's culture should come, entrepreneurship should come, and risk-bearing capacity should come. See, you know what is risk-bearing capacity? I told you about first income, second income, third income, fourth income. I practiced it. I have salary income, I have royalty income, I have agricultural income, I have rental income, I have interest income, I have also dividend income. So can you come to that level? I will never depend on a single income. You should have a multiple income. Think now, and that's the way you will take risk and you will become an entrepreneur.
Thank you.
Just to add, education doesn't matter. I can quote a number of examples. There's one guy called Tilak Mehta. At the age of 13, he started a company using the Dabbawalas in Mumbai. And I'm also happy to say that Maharani Lakshmi Ammanni College was the only college in Bangalore under Bangalore University to have a business lab. And post that, I had come here for a visit along with one of my senior professors, Dr. R.N. Subbarao. And then we started one business lab in our own college. So we, of course, took the inspiration from this college. So today a lot of colleges have ED cells. Like sir rightly said, entrepreneurship should be promoted at college level. So a lot of colleges have ED cell, almost every college. Now they just have it for namesake. Okay, to be very honest, just for compliance purposes like NAC and NIRF and other things. But now it is high time that even the faculty members, we should start consulting companies, because you look at any professor in IIM, his major income would be from consulting, for which he has to contribute 30% of his consulting income to the institute. For example, if you're a faculty of IIM Bangalore, you're consulting at Tata's. So say you get 1 crore out of that. So you need to give back 30 lakhs to Indian Institute of Management Bangalore because you're using their brand name. So I feel it is now the generation where faculties should encourage, instead of just having these ED cells for namesake, just start doing something there. Okay, and I hope next time when we come here to this college, we would be interacting with CEOs and CFOs of companies. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, all of you, for being a wonderful audience. I think because of the time constraint, we are coming to end of the session. If there is any kind of a discussion that you want to have it, probably once we finish the valedictory, probably we can come out and you can have a discussion at the refreshment time. Okay? So over to the team.
Thank you all. Special thanks to Dr. Abhinandan for moderating the session. I request sir to kindly summarize the session.
I understand. I will not take much time. I was sitting there, I know. I will just take a minute to brief about what we had tried it. The Union Finance Minister, Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman, drew on principles of Jan Bhagya. This is basically, they talk about the Sabka Vikas, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, while they share the budget of 2023. So basically, at the end of the budget discussion, what we need to understand is about, without the support of the state and the center, the policies of what the government do implement, that has not been able to effectively utilization, it will not be able to effectively implement it. So hope that the budget comes and goes, and the discussion like this do happen. So the idea is basically to make you aware, to make you enrich knowledge. Hope today is a knowledge kind of a session. You had plenty of takeaways from this session. Hope we will see you again in the next year. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The session was enlightening. Hope the students gained a better perspective on the budget 2023. I request Professor Manjula Shekhar to share her thoughts.
A very good evening to the esteemed panel, the moderator, our respected principal, and my fellow colleagues, and my very beloved students. It was a very warm evening, but a lot of key takeaways. I could join the last 40 minutes, but then I was viewing on the YouTube. So thanks to all of you for enlightening our students with a lot of, sessions in the previous, which went about happening on this particular budget, the economic survey, and a few inputs that were coming over a period of a week in the news lines, and it could be even on the videos. But today, I think they got to understand the details about the yesterdays, so you actually decoded it for us. So thanks to each one of you for making the session really with a lot of information. It's been great listening to all of you. So wishing you all good luck, and please do the same, to enlighten the students' fraternity with more information. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Gratitude is what you feel, appreciation is what you show, and thanks is what you give. I now call upon Ms. Varshita to propose the vote of thanks.
It's my immense pleasure to deliver the vote of thanks. I express my gratitude to our respected principal, Dr. Lakshmi BN, for a constant motivation. I would like to thank Dr. B.V. Murli Krishna, I would like to thank Dr. B.V. Murli Krishna, Dr. V.K. Xavier, Dr. Monica Krishnappa, C.A. Pankaj Kumar, Mr. Ajay Kumar, for accepting the invitation and being a part of the session. Thank you all. Thank you all. Special thanks to Professor Manjula Shekhar, Head, Department of Commerce. Dr. Abhinandan N., PG Coordinator, Department of Commerce, and moderator for today's session. Thank you for your guidance, sir. I would also like to thank all the faculty members of the Department of Commerce for their valuable contribution. I thank Mr. Shivu and Mr. Babu for their technical support, enabling smooth conduct of the session. I would also thank all the student volunteers for their contribution, and a big thank you to all the students for being such a lovely audience. I also thank Dr. Prakash K. for gracing the occasion. Thank you, sir. I would also like to thank Dr. C.A. Sudha Krishna, sir, for gracing the occasion.
Now I request everyone to rise for the national anthem. feedback form will be circulated in the group. Kindly give your valuable feedback.